What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, Republican leaders in the House and Senate are out to get, I'm telling you, Gary Gensler better be shaking in his boots right now, because it seems like GOP senators and representatives really want some hearings. They want information. They want answers from Gary Gensler and the SEC and why this horrendous overreach, government overreach by the SEC has been, continuing on for the last, 8 months or so since the administration started. Not just crypto, too. It's all financial services that the SEC has basically, been hurting investors. And you can just tell that they're working on behalf of the big banks. Like I've said on this channel many times, they don't even hide it anymore, right? They call him Goldman Gary for a reason. He cares about his past employees or past employers, right? He cares about Goldman Sachs. He cares about JP Morgan. He cares about the major financial institutions and not the actual investors he's sworn to protect. And finally, enough people have contacted their senators and representatives where they're actually saying they're going to do something. I mean, it's still just words here and nothing has been done, but at least we're getting something, right? So this is the Financial Services GOP Twitter page, and they say Republican leaders Patrick McHenry and Representative what's his name here? Hold on a sec. Bill Huizenga. He serves the 2nd District of Michigan. They call on Chairman Maxine Waters to immediately convene a hearing with the SEC commissioners. The American people deserve to hear from the full commission about Gary Gensler's overreach and agenda. They're asking for, right? They're asking Maxine Waters for a hearing. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. They need more people than just 2 leaders here, right? They need more to sign on this. So if you look at the actual letter, there's only 2 senators, right? We need more than this. Come on, guys. You can get more than 2 signatures on this, right? So John Deaton, actually, in response to this, because I think, so this is what we need, but we need more than 2 representatives to ask for it. Each commissioner should testify before Congress. I have a few questions I would like to submit. And he said, Senator Jack Reed, are you going to be quiet? I mean, right? It's so funny how you see Warren Davidson has a bill, Patrick McHenry has a bill, Tom Emmer has a bill. Why aren't they getting together and putting it all in one form of legislation? I don't understand why they're all trying to do their own thing. It just makes no sense to me. Obviously, if you guys all work together to get one bill passed, rather than everybody write their own bill, and then it's all just going to float around the Congress for the next 3 years, because that's the way Congress works. They get nothing done. It's amazing to me that anything gets done in this Congress, let alone a crypto legislation, right? It's just like this government is the most like what good is this government for? I mean, they do nothing. They literally do nothing. They get paid huge money, right? Just in this past bill they just passed, they gave themselves a 21% raise because, inflation. They need a raise, but, everyday people, no, you guys can live off at $7.25 an hour, right? It's just BS, right? The fact that they can't get anything done, and when, over 70% of the population wants something, they still can't agree to get it done, just shows you how, fundamentally corrupt or just, it just doesn't work. This government does not work, and especially doesn't work for the people. So will we get a hearing? Will we get an investigation? I mean, I really don't, honestly, don't have that much hope. I don't have that much, it would be great, and I'd be surprised if it did happen. But at this point, I mean, you hear Elizabeth Warren talk, you hear, other Democrats talk about this, and they just don't think it's a big deal. And at some point, and I hope that these midterm elections really, prove the point that, crypto is a huge issue in this country, and not just this country, around the world. And if we vote in the right people, then we can actually get things done. It all comes down to voting, right? I know a lot of people have, with the past couple elections, people have no They don't believe in their government. They don't believe that their vote counts. Well, it does. We still have the power to vote. We still are a democracy for the time being. But we have to vote for the right people. Do your research, guys. When it comes to the midterms, do your research. Find the guys that are, or ladies or guys that are open to crypto, right? They don't have to be 100% gung-ho crypto, but just, they have to be knowledgeable. They have to be wanting to educate themselves, because if you've been in this space long enough, this is the future, right? You know it. It's still, as much as we want to say, a lot of people think that, representatives and senators, these are smart people, right? Because they're running the country. A lot of them are not. It's a popularity contest to win, to become one of these senators or congressmen. They don't need, it's so funny. Like, these are the people that run our government, run our country. Like, you need zero experience to become a senator, which makes no sense, right? So basically, it is a popularity contest. And whoever wins that popularity contest gets to run that state, or gets to, represent that state and those people and those constituents. So just know who you vote for has a lot riding on it. So don't just think, when this guy's a nice smile, he talks good, I'm gonna vote for him. No, do your research, guys. It really is up to us to put the people, the right people in the job. So don't take it for granted. It's the one real power that we have, is our voting power. So when it comes to the midterms, do your research, know who you're voting for. If you vote in the right people, then crypto will actually have a voice in Congress. And honestly, at this point in time, the SEC is really hurting this country so much with this new innovation. And other countries are starting to take control, right? You have the UK, you have the EU, definitely Japan, and the Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian countries are taking charge in this space. And it's up to us to really, play catch up now. And it's not going to be easy. I'm just telling you right now. So Mark Phillips tweeted this out. And this is what is so true about the SEC right now. So, what a lot of people, even in this lawsuit with Ripple, they're trying to say that Ripple controlled the price of XRP, right? The funny thing about that is the SEC and the things they've done in the last couple of years or so, they're the ones that basically had more control over the space than Ripple could ever, want to achieve. So to the extent the markets believed it was a free pass and reacted accordingly, it was a free pass. Same with the market reaction to the SEC suing Ripple. It doesn't have to be stipulated in law to affect the market. That's the dynamic the SEC continues to exploit. So he's talking about the free pass they gave to Ethereum back in 2018. When they did this, right, they said it's their own it's only Hinman's personal opinion, as it doesn't, it's not the SEC's opinion, right? They knew what they were doing. Bill Hinman knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what was going to happen if he went on stage and gave Ethereum clarity in the market. It was going to affect the price, right? So what happened? What happened when Bill Hinman goes on stage and gives Ethereum a free pass and says it's not a security? Maybe it started off as a security, but now it's it's decentralized, and there's no there's no centralized body controlling it, right? So what happened? Well, let's look at this. Wow, do you hear that? What? Hold on, let's watch the video here, and then we'll read his tweet.
I think we have an intraday chart, by the way, of Ethereum. Let's see if we can pop it up there. This is what I'm talking about. So you can see over there, that was after the comments by the SEC. So interesting market action there, right? Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nascent market.
This is why insider trading is against the law, people. Okay? Right here.
Very funny.
News like this moves markets.
Right?
News like this moves markets, doesn't it? Especially from the SEC. But it's his own personal opinion, so it's not really from the SEC. Well, I think the market took it as from the SEC, right? Because look at that chart. Now, you're telling me, and he says, this is why insider trading is illegal, guys. You're telling me that Bill Hinman, right, Mr. Bill Hinman, who's worked on behalf of law firms for, big banks, and he was called like the deal maker or something. He had the nickname the deal maker in the private sector. You're telling me that there was no insider trading here? You're telling me that he wasn't getting paid $15 million from his current law firm, or his current and past and present law firm, Simpson and Thatcher, who was just happened to be highly invested in Ethereum, you don't think that he knew by giving that speech that he was going to make his current law firm, or past law firm in quotations I give, because he's getting paid $15 million from this law firm. You don't think that's going to help them out if they're if he knows they're highly invested in Ethereum? You don't think he knows it's going to help out Jay Clayton's past law firm, who was highly invested in Ethereum? Just happens that these two, Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton, just happen to go work for, after they leave the SEC, they just go happen to work for some of the largest venture capitalist firms that are highly invested in Ethereum. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to figure this out. The reason why people are like, oh, it can't be, they can't be that corrupt, where they're just, so blatantly in your face corrupt. It can't be that easy, right? It is, because they thought they could get away with it. They just did not think the XRP community was going to be digging up this dirt, right? By going after Ripple, they thought it'd be a quick case settlement, get the money, SEC get the money, and then move on with business, right? Like business as usual at the SEC. But they did not. They were not ready for the XRP community. They were not ready for all this dirt to be dug up, because they thought, because why not? I mean, they've been doing this for years. Why not just keep doing what they've been doing? I mean, just look at Bernie Madoff, right? The SEC knew what was going on. There were people saying, we've been telling you guys forever that this was going on, but it was insider information. They knew what was going on, but they weren't, they were buddies with Madoff. They weren't going to, they wanted to protect him, right? And this is what the SEC has always done. They protect their own, right? When you go in, when you leave the SEC, you're protecting the SEC. When you join the SEC, you're obviously protecting the SEC, because it's all like a boys' club or a gentleman's club, where they protect their own, right? It's been going on for decades. Why would it change? Unless someone does something about it, why would they change? They're making money. They're making millions of dollars. Why would they change? Right? It's like they're the ones that are supposed to find these people for insider trading. So if they're the ones insider trading, who's supposed to police them? Maybe the Inspector General, right? The IG. Guess what? He wasn't doing anything. He just resigned because they found out that he wasn't doing his job. I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys. When is something going to change? It's when we vote in the right people that actually hold these people accountable. So, is it going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. But can we do something about it? Yes. Write your congressman. Write the SEC. Call them. Keep letting yourself be heard, because at some point in time, they cannot ignore us forever. Right? And if we keep voting for the right people and put the right people in charge, then we can get change. Change can happen. Right? And if we support John Deaton and everything he's doing, and keep posting, and do your part. Like, I'm going to keep posting these videos to try to get this information out to as many people as possible. You guys keep sharing these tweets. Do your part. Write your congressman. Like I said, everybody does their part. At some point in time, we will get an investigation, and at some point in time, things will change. The next thing I have is also from John Deaton. There is no way the ethics office was aware that Hinman's law firm, Simpson & Thatcher, of which he was an ongoing profit share, was a member of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, and approved that speech. I guarantee Hinman claims he didn't know that his law firm, Simpson & Thatcher, was a member of the Ethereum Alliance. It's a criminal violation if he did. Now, you're telling me. So Bill Hinman, right? He is working for Simpson & Thatcher before the SEC. You're telling me he doesn't know that his law firm is a member of the Ethereum Alliance? So then he leaves Simpson & Thatcher, still getting paid $15 million a year, right? And then he gives that speech giving Ethereum a free pass. He knew exactly what would happen to Ethereum once he gave that speech. And anytime before and after, the SEC has never mentioned a single token, right? They always say we can't talk about any particular token, right? But just in this one instance, all of a sudden, it was okay to go out to talk about this one token, right? And it just happened. It's just a coincidence that his law firm his past law firm and the current one that's paying him $15 million a year. Just, it's just a coincidence that they're highly invested in Ethereum. Give me a break. So obviously the ethics office didn't know that he was getting paid this $15 million from Simpson and Thatcher, because if they did, you think they'd have a problem with this? You think they'd have a problem with him giving this speech? I hope so, right? And like John Deaton's saying here, I guarantee that Bill Hinman will say, "Oh, I had no idea that they were, that when I gave that speech that the firm that I'm getting paid $15 million was going to benefit so much from that. I had no idea." I mean, you really can't make this shit up. When is someone going to do something about it? And you see Bill Hinman's, on TV still just, like going about business like nothing happened, right? Just another day in the SEC, another day of just insider trading. It happens so much and so often and so easily that people just, like that's just normal, right? It's just normal. It's bullshit, guys. So Crypto Arsenal tweeted this out. So that speech that Hinman gave back in 2018, now we have a list of the names that helped write the speech or helped draft the speech. Right? I think I have all the names now from the Hinman speech emails. 38 people involved in what is described as a personal opinion. 38 people helped write this speech. You're telling me this was... They're trying to tell me this is Bill Hinman's personal opinion? When 38 people within the SEC helped write the speech? And there was, I want to say 64 or 65 drafts of that speech? That's a lot of time and work put into one person's personal opinion, isn't it? I mean, once again, you can't make this shit up. The fact that the SEC is trying to hide these emails so vigorously, right? And first, it was his own personal opinion, right? He went under oath in the deposition and said it was his own personal opinion. Then when the judge said, "Oh, if it's his own personal opinion, you got to, let the Ripple see it, let the public see it." Then they come, "Oh, no, actually, it was his own personal opinion, but it was also the opinion of the corporate corporate finance within the SEC, so it's, it's protected," right? No, it can't be both. It's either its own personal opinion or it's the position of the SEC. So you can't have it both ways. So you're telling me, and you're telling me the judge can't see right through this? There's no way. If we're, smart enough to see this, you think that the two judges that are way smarter than us can't see the same thing? I mean, give me a break. 38 people helped write the speech with 64, 65 drafts. Give me a break, guys. This is, at some point in time, we will see these emails. And if we don't, we'll have a settlement. So either way, we get these emails, it's a bombshell. The case is thrown out, basically, if this happens. Or there's a settlement before this, and the case is over. So, I'm still, if you're not, anybody out there that's saying, I'm afraid I'm going to sell my XRP, I'm afraid this is somehow going to go the wrong way. I'm like 99.9% sure that Ripple is going to win it in some form, right? XRP will have clarity at the end of this. And remember, XRP will be the only token that has clarity in the US. And what do you think that means? That means it has more clarity than Ethereum. It has more clarity than Bitcoin, any other token, because it's set a precedent from the court saying XRP today is not a security. That is going to happen. That's why Ripple's fighting this so vigorously, because they want clarity for XRP moving forward. They would have taken a settlement. They would have taken a settlement, months back, right? You think they want to get dragged through court for the last year and a half? No, but they need clarity for XRP. And they know they have the law and the facts behind them, so they will drag this thing to the bitter end if they have to, if they get clarity for XRP. And the SEC at the other side of things, they are making themselves look like a bunch of idiots, first off, but they're also going to lose power in regulating crypto. And honestly, it doesn't seem like Gary Gensler wants that to happen. You see what he's trying to do. He just bolstered up his whole crypto team in the SEC, right? They doubled down, doubled the amount of people that are going to regulate crypto. You're telling me that they can afford to lose power in regulating crypto? No. They will settle as soon as they know that they will lose power, right? So I'm telling you, I still think that this will settle in the next couple months or so. But if it doesn't, XRP will get clarity. If they settle, XRP gets clarity. If they don't settle and they go to summary judgment, XRP gets clarity. Either way, XRP gets clarity in the market. So what does that mean? That means it's a sure thing. I mean, as close to a sure thing as possible. Yes, there's a 0.00 whatever percent that somehow the system is so fraudulent that the SEC wins this case. If that happens, then screw it. I'll just sell all my crypto, because if they can call XRP a security, they can call anything a security, and then this space is basically pointless. I'll move to Portugal. I'll move to Singapore, because the U.S. is a total fraudulent country at that point, right? So either way, there's a chance that I might move out of the country because it's such a fraudulent, corrupt government. But I don't believe that, right? That's a very, very small chance. So the next thing I want to show you guys is Jeremy Hogan posted this about the library case, right? The SEC versus library. A lot of people are unaware that the SEC is actually going after another cryptocurrency platform, which is basically they were trying to be a decentralized version of YouTube. So Jeremy Hogan says, if you hold XRP, pay attention to the SEC versus library case, which involves many of the same issues as the Ripple case and will be decided first. This summary judgment from the SEC is a template and continues its strategy of downplaying the uniqueness of blockchain projects. And then he continues on. The library Ripple cases will hinge on the ability of the judge to understand the issuance of tokens operating on a decentralized ledger is not just another way of raising funds, and does not implicate the disclosure requirements underpinning the reasoning behind securities laws. Now, so the library case will end before, or likely end before, the Ripple case, if obviously if the Ripple case does not settle. Now, what the SEC is basically trying to do here with the library case is they're trying to set a precedent, right? If they go to summary judgment before the Ripple case ends and they win big against library, they can use these same arguments against Ripple. So it's very important for library to put in a good fight here. The case still, I mean, at one point, I don't have it here, but at one point in the briefs against library, they say the 3 prongs of the Howey test, right? The 3 prongs. There's 4 prongs in the Howey test. So they're basically getting, the SEC basically is cutting down the Howey test to 3 instead of 4 now. So hopefully the judge will see right through this. I mean, the arguments that the SEC is making against library and Ripple are so dumbfounded that it's like, can they really win? Can they really win? Well, we'll see about it, I guess. But I think library is putting up a good fight. Obviously, we know Ripple is. It's going to be interesting to see how it works. These cases are still so very different, and it'll be hard for the SEC to, even if they do win this library case, it'll be hard for them to, to use those same arguments against Ripple, because they're just Ripple did so many different things in library, and library did so many different things in Ripple that you really can't compare them, right? But they will do their best to try to, because that's what the SEC does. They're grasping at straws at this point, so they'll do whatever they can to give themselves an upper hand, which they are literally at the bottom of the hole at this point, and they're trying to dig themselves out, and it's literally going to be impossible. So we should be paying attention to this case. Like I said, it probably will end before the Ripple case, so definitely I will keep you guys up to date on what's happening there. If you guys have been watching my videos, I've showed you the library, the people with library, the CEO of library. They have not been shy on telling people how they feel about the SEC and how the SEC has been treating them throughout this case. And what they've said and what they've tweeted out is everything we've come to understand and how the SEC deals with things. They are bullies. They play the mob, basically in the financial institution ring, whatever you want to call it. But they basically want their payout. They don't like you. They're going to put you out of business. They use the power of the government to basically blackball anybody they don't like. That is the mob, right? What's the difference? The only difference is this is a legal way of doing it because they are the government, right? They are a government agency, so they can basically do whatever they want because who's going to stop them, right? If it's the mob, obviously the law enforcement can stop them. But if you're a government agency, who's supposed to stop you? Well, Congress is supposed to stop you. The DOJ is supposed to stop you. But if they won't do their job, then who will? Right? This is why the SEC gets away with this shit so much. Because no one stops them. Right? Look at JP Morgan, right? They've been doing fraudulent... I mean, they've been, they controlled the metal markets, money laundering, any financial crime, they've done it, right? But what happens to them? Oh, they get a fine, right? They make billions of dollars, in the metal markets, right? Manipulating the metal markets. Oh, they get slapped, $50 million fine. If they make billions of dollars doing it and you fine them $50 million, that's like fining someone like $100 if they're making millions of dollars. Like, give me a break. It's not going to work, right? Yeah, you're fining them, but is that really keeping them from doing these crimes over and over again? No, it's not. No one goes to jail, so it's just a little slap in the wrist every time. It's just the way this country works, and at some point in time, it needs to change. So I will end the video here with this 8-minute clip of Brad Garlinghouse speaking at this conference. I think it was the Milken Institute. It's a conference they were talking about the future of crypto, and he has the mayor of New York City on the panel. So I'm just going to end. If you guys want to watch this quick clip, you can stay and watch. If you don't, that's fine. But if you guys could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Just remember, I am not a financial advisor. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys. And just listen to this clip if you want. If you don't, we'll see you on the next one.
Innovation OG on this channel. If you look at your background...
Not sure that's a good thing or bad thing.
Let's call it a good thing. How has disruptive technology personally changed your life?
I remember the first time I was introduced to the internet. My younger brother was visiting me. I was working at SBC Communications, and he said, "You have an IP address." And this was 1993, and I, of course, what the hell is an IP address? But downloaded Mosaic, which ended up being Netscape. And for me, it was a transformational moment because you could see how some of these technologies, in terms of giving access to any information anywhere, and in Amareen's example, it's access to communication anywhere, and as that has proliferated. And now I think, as we talk about what blockchain and crypto means, it's that it's disruptive, I hope constructively, but access to value and the ability to move value anywhere, and how that all three of those things, whether it's access to information, access to communication, and access to value, and reducing the friction of all those, I think opens up our planet. And I think for me was something that, even in the earliest days of the internet, you could kind of see how this was going to have a pretty profound impact on society. I think at the core, what cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies represent is the ability to remove friction from transactions of all kinds, all shapes, all sizes. I think we started with, as you pointed out, money is at its core, and certainly what Ripple is doing around cross-border payments, taking friction out of those transactions that are error-prone and slow and expensive. Look, I believe these technologies will impact many different verticals across enterprise as well as consumer. The thing about the disruption piece that I would just offer is I think unlike some earlier waves of technology innovation in Silicon Valley, there was an ethos that I think became kind of well known in Facebook's era of move fast and break stuff. Uber certainly accentuated that. And in some ways that worked maybe at that place and time. But when you're talking about people's money, the idea of moving fast and breaking stuff is a really bad idea. And so we have thought much more about, let's not be disruptive technologies, but constructive technologies. And I think there's still people in the crypto community who certainly start with disrupt, down with government, down with banks. We take a very different point of view. And I think increasingly many people who are here at Milken from the crypto community are very much, how do we solve real problems? How do we improve people's lives? How do we, you and I backstage are talking about remittances. There's so many examples where you can actually do very good for society in a way that helps grow that industry.
Let's talk about regulation.
That's friction. Exactly. Seriously, if you think about it, by definition, a regulation is partly about putting in some hurdles and roadblocks to protect markets, to protect consumers.
Can you be specific about what's there that, is regulating, for example, your company, your industry right now that creates friction?
Well, I'll start by saying I think one of the great farces of what is the crypto industry is a narrative that is coming out of the SEC right now, which says this is the Wild West. As Mayor Adams described, crypto already is a regulated, and in some states more so than others. But I think the key that I think about is how do we make sure that government and regulators, certainly as Mayor Adams has evidence of going from the previous administration to this one, of partnership with the industry. I think we're going through a technical wave that isn't, I think, dissimilar to the internet in the late 90s. In that era, the United States government at a federal level created clarity and certainty about the rules and regulations and how, what were the rules of the road. Today in the industry here in the United States, you really don't have that clarity of the rules of the road for blockchain and crypto. And that has really been at the disadvantage of the competitiveness of the United States. Cities like New York, I think, are trying to call out. Cities like Miami are calling out that problem. Even today, for those of you who haven't read the news, Gavin Newsom issued an executive order for the state of California calling out the fact that there's not regulatory clarity and really championing the need, because about a quarter of the U.S. blockchain companies are based here in California, the need for that clarity. Now, that's one state, and Mayor Adams represents one city. These are federal, the federal level. And a lot of countries around the world, some represented here at the Milken event, are way ahead of where the U.S. is, and that is a problem. I think this is a brilliant example of friction in transactions that can be dramatically improved through blockchain technologies. I happen to know there's a company represented in the audience today called Proppy that is doing exactly that. And it's literally looking at, there's a massive amount of cost in real estate transactions, and I measure cost both by speed of transaction, cost of transaction, and we can apply technologies to improve that, but it does require that partnership that Mayor Adams was just describing, because these are regulated industries, and they should be. But that doesn't mean we have to be stuck in, kind of put our head in the sand and create more rules. And again, borrowing from what Mayor Adams said, we have to embrace. We can't be fearful of what that could look like, because I think what it looks like on the other side is a more efficient economy for the people the government's actually representing. Data supports that. Some cities, yes, but there's also a lot of cities that I think have been very, using Mayor Adams' word, partnership-centric, and actually you've seen, my understanding is a lot of growth in a city like Miami and Austin, away from cities that frankly I think have been increasingly hostile towards business. And I'm not just talking about financial regulation and crypto regulation, I'm just talking about a macro sense. And I think one of the great things about Mayor Adams coming into office is changing the administration, really a posture towards inviting business and wanting business to be a part of those conversations.
But Brad, when you think about managing talent from a corporate perspective, from at the Ripple level, and you think about recruiting, do you also think about whether you want everybody in the same place, the way Howard said that IBM is doing in New York City? Does that really enter your calculus?
I admit I'm a little bit on the old school side of things, where I used to, I go to the office every day, I want people in the office every day. It took a minute during the pandemic for me to get used to the idea that, hey, we can be pretty productive working remote. And Ripple has very much adopted a flexible first. We're not work from home first or office first, it's just flexible first. And that is working for us for sure. People are starting to come back to the office. I get a lot of energy going to an office. I personally can focus better, and I think for industries that are in the formative stages that don't necessarily have tried and true processes, being in a room, be able to talk things through about where the world's going, how do we solve these problems, I think is really beneficial, and I don't think you can replace that. It's not surprising to me that a company like Apple is saying, no, you're coming back to the office. But I think we need to be flexible, and I think the migration, if there's a migration, it's citizens moving with their feet. They're voting with their feet, saying, look, I don't want to put up with a city or problems in one city when I can go to another and work for the same employer and do just as well. That'd be opportunity, right? Mayor Adams talked about fear earlier, and certainly it's a fearful moment when you lose your job and you feel like, that happens. But you also have an experience where industries that did not even exist 10 years ago, and I'm going to use crypto as an example, they're now $2 trillion industries. I always thought it was funny when I first was getting involved in the crypto industry, you'd read some job description, and somebody said, I want 7 years experience. Like, this industry didn't exist 7 years ago. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so I think we are always going to be in reinvention, and there's always going to be new industries. And to Howard's point, if people are not fearful and they embrace, the training, and oftentimes it is available. Backstage, Mayor Adams was talking about some of the conundrums of the current higher education system in the United States, which I think is problematic for some of the things we're talking about. But I also think elected leaders are talking about that, and I think things are evolving in a positive direction.
Always great hearing him speak, right? Just to know what your money's in a safe spot. So thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next one.